Hi, everyone, and welcome to the One Podcast. My guest today, it is such a joy to have her on because I had never wanted to be in a magazine. And one day, out of the blue, last summer, I received a message on Instagram inviting me to be in a magazine called FREQ Magazine. I was so nervous and so intimidated. I immediately went and looked up who is the owner of this magazine? How did they even find me? And now I get the honor of interviewing her for the One Podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to Louise George. She is the founder of a whole conglomeration around frequency, but today we're mainly going to focus on FREQ Magazine. Welcome, Lou. I'm so happy to have you. I would love for you to jump right in and tell a little bit about your story and how did this come to be?
First of all, I'm going to need to get a standing desk again soon because I find it really difficult to sit still. I have so much energy right now and always, but right now I'm so excited to talk to you. Thank you for having me. This is going to be a gorgeous conversation. I know I'm just, feeling giddy to be here and to dive into all of the good stuff. I'm just too excited to dive in.
I love it. We were both trying to calm ourselves down before we got started.
I know.
I want you to tell a little bit about your background. Who are you? How did you get to where you are? And then talk about this entire mission of frequency, especially FREQ Magazine.
Thank you. I'll give you the short version, or as short as possible, because this is a question that I always found difficult to answer when I was younger because I never fit in a box. The linear path didn't ever suit me when I was in my teens and 20s. So I was like, but that doesn't fit, that doesn't feel right. I always felt like I didn't quite fit in. I could never do what everyone else was doing, the university job, get married, have kids, white picket fence. Just so much of that didn't speak to me. And when I came across two phrases, multi-passionate entrepreneur and multi-potentialite, I was like, oh, that gave me so much relief in my freak, my weirdness, my not the same as everyone else. And then I started finding others like me, other multi-passionate entrepreneurs, other multi-potentialites. And I was like, these are my people. You find that, then you don't feel like such a weirdo anymore. And I was just running in the wrong circles with people who were following that linear path. I also trained as an actor. I was always creative, and I was an actor in films and television and a broadcaster on radio and TV. So I've had a really eclectic career. That meant that I had to have other jobs to support that. There aren't many jobs that I didn't have earlier in my career until I found coaching. And so the magazine actually has come full circle back to my media background in television and advertising. But also I've been a coach, a master coach for over 10 years now. And I've brought the two of those things together in FREQ, under the FREQ umbrella. So with the media company and the magazine and the podcast, and then with the coaching arm of that as well. It's been a long journey to get here of many different creative pursuits. But for the last 15 years, I've been focused mainly on coaching. And now it's such a privilege to support and platform other incredible entrepreneurs and leaders and creatives, which is actually where I started this all in the first place.
So you had tried a bunch of careers. You just knew in your soul you were headed towards something. I love that you were already in media, that you had acted, that you knew all of this, that you were a broadcaster. What was it that led you towards frequency and manifestation in particular?
My own quest for the secret, I guess, for finding my place in the world, finding that thing, my purpose, which isn't one thing. I was always trying to find that one thing. And finally embracing my creativity in all of the things that I do and owning that. Also, my fascination in coaching was always with the universal laws, law of attraction, manifestation. But my curiosity and my kind of science brain was like, but what's the secret? I'm in with all the woo stuff. That's always really resonated from a heart-centered place. Like, yes, manifestation, law of attraction, creating your own reality. I was a yes immediately. I just knew from a soul level that was it. But then my logical mind was like, okay, but let's ground this. Let's help for me to ground this so that I get. So when I read The Secret, for example, my question was, what's the secret? How do we actually, in this physical 3D reality, manifest more intentionally? And so I made my life an experiment in that. And then when I got the secret, I made it my mission to help as many other people with that in my coaching business as possible, to intentionally co-create their reality, to learn what frequency is, why we're here, how we more intentionally create this experience that we're having.
Many of us knew about The Secret, and so many of us have heard about frequency, but don't quite know how to dive in or how to truly connect their frequency to their desires. What do you feel like is the secret to doing that?
I wrote a book about this last year, which leads into my main manifestation program,
Okay.
Manifestation Freak. Manifestation isn't magic, it's a frequency. And the extension of that is very simply that frequency is you, clear on what you want and aligned with it.
Mm.
So it's not woo, it's not outside of us. And it sounds so simple. When I explain to most people, it's getting clear on what you really want. But most people in this world don't know what they really want, because how often do people actually slow down? And I was there. We get on that treadmill of career and jobs and life and family, to actually slow down and ask, what is it I truly desire? Not from a head brain place of shoulds and coulds and have tos, but from a heart centered place, right? What is it I truly desire? And this is grounded in science as well, in neuroscience, in multi-brain integration. Heart Math have done a lot of research on this, that our heart center is actually an intelligence, a second brain, same as our gut, our head, our heart, and our gut. So it's about bringing coherence between that head brain space and our body, connecting to our heart, which is the center of our vision, of our truth, of our desires. Then our gut, which will help us take action or not. So what do we need to feel safe in order to move forwards on these heart-centered desires? And then directing our head. What do we need in order to create this? And surrendering that, being obsessed but unattached with what it is we want, like that or something better.
Oh, being obsessed but not attached. I think that's so important. Obsessed but not attached. We spend so much time in our heads to actually try to start choosing every day to lead from the heart, taking that time in the morning to actually really connect with your heart. And there are going to be people who are going to say right now, yeah, I know what's in my heart. I know my desires, but I have no idea how to get them. I have a feeling there are going to be listeners that are single, that haven't found the love that they want, or that have these really strong desires for a successful business, but they're not quite sure how to start taking those steps. I love that you've made it clear. If that's what's truly in your heart, we're also activating the brain and the gut. And I think so many people forget that the gut helps navigate. So, okay, let's talk to the listener who is looking for a fulfilling relationship. What would you say to some of your coaching clients on that? What could be their first guiding step, or how can they lead themselves in that, incorporating those three?
I love what you just said in how can they lead themselves. This is our conversation of the month. Our next freak issue is resonance. And I'm talking so much about the end of the era of guru worship. And we're actually looking to walk beside those we resonate with. We're looking to walk with those who support us in being more self-led. And so when we are looking at any kind of relationship, especially our most intimate relationships and partnerships and divine union, then it is all about your self relationship, which I know everyone's heard a million times. But the relationship we have with ourselves not only sets the tone and foundation for every other relationship we'll have, but it sets the tone and foundation for our entire life. And so that is what we need to work on. Stop looking for a partner, stop looking for anyone outside of you. They will come into your life when you are that person for yourself. What is it exactly you're looking for in that divine partnership? And where are you not that? That's the work that needs to be done. And then when it comes to getting clear on that, it's spending time in stillness and silence, in meditation, but it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be for hours. There's a practice in multi-brain integration, which is simply balanced breath. We're sitting in a quiet spot, preferably first thing in the morning, starting your day in this coherent state. What we're looking for is coherence between the head and the body before those shoulds and coulds and have tos kick in, before we are reacting to our day, before we're looking for relationships outside of ourselves that aren't truly in alignment, is actually sitting, breathing in slowly and steadily to the count of 6 and out slowly and steadily to the count of 6. That brings coherence between our head and our body. Just for 5 minutes, that breath will help your heart, your gut, and your head communicate. And then with your hands on your heart, asking, what is it I truly desire? And if it's with something specific, if you are specifically looking to call in your life partner right now, or if you're specifically looking for an answer within your business or what something else you want to create, anything, you can ask, what is it I truly desire from my soulmate partnership? What is it I truly desire in my most intimate relationship, in my business partnership, whatever? And your heart will communicate with you. It is always communicating with us, but we can't hear it so often because our head brain's so much louder, because we've got so much external noise. We're in an era of information overwhelm. So actually that time in the morning or whenever you want to connect to this, and I do this often, I say to my clients, this isn't a one-time thing. This is a lifetime commitment and a daily practice to be connected to self first, to be self-led, your mindset and what you're embodying. It really starts with this. Asking your heart, what do I truly desire? And then, okay, when you're clear on that, and it might take some time or it might come through immediately, your heart might immediately give you, this is what I want, these are the images, these are the sounds, this is what it feels like. And that's key. What does my most intimate relationship feel like? What does my business feel like? How do I most want to feel in these environments? Then when you have that, hands on your gut, what do I need in order to move forwards with this? What do I need to do to take action towards this? Right? And then, only then, when we've communicated with our body, heart and gut specifically, do we then come to the head brain. All right, direct the head. This is what we're going to do. And how I help myself remember this and my clients is, your heart is the CEO, your gut is your board of directors, and your head is your executive assistant. So we want to listen to the heart, listen to the heart, follow the gut, direct the head. Right?
So good. I love that.
CEO, board, executive assistant.
CEO, board, and executive. And who doesn't have 5 minutes? I remember before I ever meditated years ago, that meditation to me seemed like there is no way I have the time, and my brain runs and runs and runs. Yeah, it's going to, but for 5 minutes to sit and breathe and let it go and breathe. This is the simplest practice. It takes 5 minutes. One of my clients and I were just talking this past weekend about every single person has the same 24 hours. Those that are homeless, those are wildly wealthy, they were given the same 24 hours. So it is truly how we choose to manage our time. You can choose 5 minutes in the morning. You can choose 5 minutes in the middle of the day, especially a day that's chaotic or when you're feeling lost. That coherent time in the morning, there's that break between right when you wake up and before you're heading to the bathroom to go brush your teeth and use the restroom and before you go get coffee, just taking a minute to actually sit there, and because your brain hasn't kicked into the overthinking yet, that's that beautiful time. You're right. If we can connect to our hearts, then we can figure out heart and gut, then going into the brain. And I think the hardest part for some people is taking that next action step to actually follow that intuitive guidance. But like you were just saying, it's all about, who am I becoming? What is it I truly desire? And when you connect to that mission, how do I take the steps to get this out into the world? For you specifically, what made you brave enough to create such a way to be present in the world? Like, here I am, here's my creations. It's not hiding behind anything. You're just like, here we go. What is it that made you so capable of doing that?
That's a really great question, and one that I need to remember more often, because it is something that I am inherently good at. I think I was definitely born with what I call a soul fire, which is why I couldn't ever settle for the linear path, because I always had that fire. I'm here to make a big impact. I'm here to live my life to the fullest. I knew that from the moment I arrived here in this human form. However, I was a very shy child. So as much as I knew that, if you'd have asked me to stand up in class, for example, when I was at primary school, I couldn't think of anything worse. I was terrified of public speaking. You would never know that about me. And I've been on stages around the world. I've been on television and films with Hollywood actors. Like, I'm certainly not afraid of being on stages now. So that I'm a great example of confidence is something that you learn. Confident, most people aren't born confident.
Yeah.
And most people are waiting for confidence before they do something, right? So as a coach, there are 4 things that I hear time and time again over my 15 years of coaching in business, especially. Confidence, clarity, time, money are the 4 things that people come to me wanting. Can you help me make more money? Can you help me prioritize my time? Can you help me become clearer in this? Can you help me become more confident before I do this? No, because all of those things are results. All of those things are results of your prioritization, are results of you taking action, right? Clarity and confidence will come when you take action. And so I am super confident now because I have taken action after action after action before fear had a chance to take over. I have an idea, I take action. And that's really important. What I know to be true, and you as well probably, is that super successful people, multimillionaires, and people who are very visible, and people who are creating things at a big visible level, we take action fast. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about it in her book Big Magic beautifully, where she says you've got to keep fear in the backseat. It's always going to be along for the ride, but you have to let it know it's absolutely not allowed to touch the radio station. Under no circumstances can it take the wheel. Oh, fear can't catch me if I'm in momentum. That's it. So I stay in momentum. I never second guess. This, I mean, it's a muscle that you have to strengthen, right? But I've always been very like this. I have an idea and I'm so excited and I just have to do it now, because I've always felt this life is relatively short and precious. I got to do it. If I want to write the book, I'm writing the book. If I'm going to launch a magazine, I'm going to launch a magazine. I am not going to one day my way to success, because one day does not exist. And I've always just felt that it is so true. Have the idea, implement it. And then I see the difference between those who are very successful, and everyone has their own definition of that, but who are creating what they truly desire in their life experience. They are fulfilled. They are, because it's not easy, right? But it gets to be simpler and easier and more joyful when you act on what you truly desire. You listen to your heart and you take action on it. And that's what I do. So fear just doesn't have a chance to catch me.
I love this. I'm not going to one day my way to success. That was brilliant. I'm never going to forget that. I'm not going to one day my way to success. Some people think, well, if I have an idea and then I act on it right away, how do I know it's the right idea? If you're listening to what she said in the beginning and you've taken the time in the morning to listen to your heart and then listen to your gut is going to be able to confirm if this idea is something you should act on. I have a gazillion ideas. Some need a minute to marinate, and then some I will sit on in the past because of fear. I knew in my gut I should act on it, but the fear was I will be too present, I will be too exposed. People don't end up on this podcast by chance. They don't end up finding your magazine by chance. She is your reminder that you're here for a big purpose, and there's no more wasting time. There's nothing more important than you fulfilling what is in your heart to get done, because it's yours. No one could do frequency the way you do it. Like the class. I want you to talk more about the magazine. Talk to me about how did it come into your vision? What is the vision of it now? It is one of the classiest magazines I've ever seen. It just has such a, okay, I'm going to tell my story. So you guys reached out to me. I think it was Instagram. I was so excited and so scared out of my mind. I was like, there's no way I can be in a magazine. It's going to make me a little emotional. I love what I do offline. Being exposed to the world is not my thing. But you had written me about the radiance issue, and I had never done a photo shoot. And so I didn't have photos for it. So I asked if there was any way I could do the next one. You guys were so gracious and said yes. And then I started second guessing myself, because I was like, I want to be radiant. I wanted to be in the radiance one. And so I went ahead and got this photo shoot done. It was very last minute, everything. And then you reached out for the next one, and the next one was legacy. And
Mm.
my heart was so full because part of what I talk about is make your mark, leave your legacy. Make your mark, leave your legacy. Oh my gosh, it's divine that I ended up in the legacy issue. It was the very first magazine I've ever been in my life. I would have never wanted to do it had it not been yours, had it not been that feeling. And it's opened the doors since then to be in 2 or 3 other magazines. I'm going to be in 2 TV shows. That one invitation, you and your energy, your frequency, the design, the elegance, that invitation to me, you had no idea the ripple effect that it would cause in my life, to opening me up to being brave enough to step into all these other opportunities. So you living your mission is a gigantic catalyst in my life to me being able to carry my mission forward in such a bigger manner. And I'm
Mm.
so grateful for that. I just want you to know it was a turning point for me. Thank you.
Well, it's very rare that I'm lost for words, but I feel very emotional because that I've got goosebumps as well. That's why I had to birth this in the world. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the whole this is the whole point,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
There's so much I want to say to that. So just to compose myself. But I am so unbelievably grateful for you sharing that experience because I had no idea. I mean, I have an idea of this is why I started the magazine. And people often ask me, did you always want to run a magazine? Like it was my childhood dream. No, had no idea. It wanted to come through me, and I said yes.
How did you know that? Talk about that story. Can
Yeah.
hear that.
So with everything I've said about coherence and listening to your heart, that is a practice. It sounds woo and out there and weird, but it's not. It's very much grounded in science. Like this is an independent intelligence to the point, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, to the point that people have had heart transplants and had very vivid dreams. And then they've been like, I keep having this recurring dream and it's so vivid. And this was the dream. And then somehow they've got in touch with their surgeon and they've known the kind of donor's family. And they've discovered that it wasn't just a dream, it was memories stored in the heart from the person whose heart it was originally. Like, how freaking amazing is that?
Yes.
This has its own neural connections and pathways. And so this is it's such a simple practice, but your heart will put you on the right path. And so over time, over many, many years of me doing this work, of living and breathing and teaching it, I just know I'm so connected. I trust myself is what it is. Is that it's not something I have to sit down and do anymore because I live this and I know my heart and I just know when something is a yes. I trust that, right? The feeling.
Yes.
When my body's communicating with me. So when the magazine came to me, this is such a new thing, right? How incredible that we have women like you and the ripple effect has just been so huge in less than a year. This came to me last March, end of March. I launched it, like within the week it came to me. So the magazine came through. I just said yes to it. I didn't know what it was meant to be. I just knew I had to start a magazine. Initially, I put myself on the first issue because I was like, okay, let's go. This is how quick I act. Heart desire, the message came through. And actually, I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. Earlier in the year, it had come to me before that, less clear. And this is often what happens. I kept hearing magazine. I kept getting nudges, taps, winks, magazines in my faces. And I was like, why do I keep hearing about this magazine? Why in meditation, whatever, magazine was tapping me on the shoulder until I listened properly. And it was like, you need to start a magazine. You need to stop everything else you're doing And right now, this has to be the main. Bearing in mind, I had multiple masterminds full and needing my attention. Like I was running events. My other business was very much busy, but the message was, you need to start a magazine, and that needs to be your priority. I was like, okay, this is a thing. And initially, I was like, okay, this can replace my newsletter. I'll make it a bigger newsletter, a monthly newsletter, and we'll put all of our stuff in there: manifestation, mindset, leadership, business, etc. So that's why the first one was me on the front. It was me writing about, it was another channel to write about and deliver about manifestation and frequency work and all of that, the good stuff. And it just snowballed from there very quickly. And I just kept saying, yes, I haven't done this. I am simply the channel it is coming through, and I just keep allowing it.
I love this so much. And on your wall behind you, I see Homaya. I know Homaya. We've
Yes.
met in person. We went to Tulum together years ago. And Kristen Stewart and I have been in the same worlds for years together.
And you're here, look.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
behind
and
me.
there's me.
You're behind me. I'm going to take this down without ruining the wall. This is one of your pages. This is my wall of inspiration, and like where we map out where the pages are going to be. And yeah, so I've left these up for a while now, but yeah.
Okay, there's two things I want to say. And then I want to ask you this question. Number one, I want the listeners or the viewers to understand, same thing with me. This podcast, I had heard about it for years. You will do a podcast. You will do a podcast. You will do a podcast. It doesn't mean that when you're instructed to do something, you just have the instinct and the ability to jump right in all the time. Some of us, we have to get over our fear, but when you know it, you know it. And what I love is most of the time, it's for something bigger than us. Yes, this magazine serves her, but this magazine is the conduit to sharing vital, important messages with the world. I realized once I finally started the podcast, it has nothing to do with me. I just need to get on here, listen to what I'm supposed to say, and interview the people. And I feel like most of our missions are things are supposed to come through us to serve others. And so she's living it. I would love to know, how is it that you choose the people to be in it? Are you led and guided? Talk about how it's growing for you from when you first started it to now.
Yeah, it's growing slowly with intention. It's growing quickly and slowly at the same time. So I've contradicted myself. So I want to explain that a little bit, because I said earlier, we have the idea and we act on it immediately. When I think about it though, this has been 12 years in the making.
Wow.
2014, I didn't know until now, and I can now look back with hindsight and join the dots of all of the things I've done, especially 2014. So in 2014, I had closed one business, two businesses actually, because they weren't soul aligned. I was doing them because I could, and I loved them to an extent, but they weren't my soul calling. So I had a property management company and I had a fitness coaching company, and they just run their course. And I was like, that's not the thing. I knew forever acting and presenting was a part of my journey, and I was still doing that. I'm a creative, I'm a channel for messages. And now I know where acting and presenting and coaching and the magazine, they're all me with my fascination of the human psyche, communication. That's who I am. I am a messenger. I am fascinated by people and like what makes me. So that's where all of those, because for ages I was like, acting's over here and presenting's over here and coaching's over here and business is over here. And other people don't get it either. Most people in mainstream society are like, pick a lane. Like, what do you do? Who are you? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I like all of these things. But because we're so taught about the linear path and you have to pick something, it confuses people. They don't know where to box you in. And I was like, but I can't. You can't put me in a box. So I had to stay really strong in that. And I'm going off on tangents, so I promise it will come back. And now I'm like, all of those things are me. And there's a thread between all of them. I bring my acting into my coaching to help people with archetypes and being present and responding and communicating. They're all connected. They're all me. So 2014, I closed those two businesses that weren't aligned. And I was like, I just need a job, which does not suit me. So I went and temped in banking, like as a PA I wanted a job that was well paid, where I didn't have to think like much.
Yeah.
So I mean, no disrespect to PAs, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. But in that particular company that I worked in, I was a float PA. So they called on me when they needed me. And there were periods of time where I was just sat at a desk doing nothing, which I can't do. So I was like, right, while I'm sat at this desk waiting for someone to need me for something, I'm not going to sit and clock watch or file my nails like the other PAs in the bank. I'm actually going to use this time to write. And I started writing about my experience in coaching, the fitness coaching business I had, in health and well-being, with the acting and confidence. And I became really interested, I don't know where this came from, but in supporting other women. It just came through that I wanted to write about other people, other women, what's their experience. So I started a blog in 2014 while I was temping in banking called Bodhi Babes, celebrating all of the women that had inspired me. So people on there, like back in the day, like Gabby Bernstein, that's when I first came across Danielle Laporte's work, and people who are kind of earlier in the self-development industry that have been doing this work for a long time as well. And I was putting them on my blog and writing about them. And Bodhi Babes took off quite quickly because I wasn't attached to it. I was just loving it, and I was loving writing. And I was like, if the only person that reads this is my mum, great. I'm just enjoying being creative. But also I was like, if this helps just one other person, job done as well, because I was sharing like so much. Hay House picked it up, so I started getting invited to Hay House events, and I was blogging for them. And then Psychology's picked it up. I didn't really know much about the self-development industry. I was doing my own self-development, but I wasn't in. And then suddenly there I was. And that's how I started coaching as well. So all of the other creative things have been in the background, but the blog Bodhi Babes turned into confidence coaching initially for women, because they were asking me the same thing. How are you so confident? How have you started this blog from nowhere and suddenly it's taking off? And Hay House have picked it up, and I'm like, I don't know. So I started helping women with confidence initially, and did my life coaching qualifications, and it just kind of continued from there. And so 2014, the blog has turned into the last 12 years of coaching, life coaching, confidence coaching, quickly turned into business coaching because my coaching business took off with all of my experience before that in business as well. And so now I've come full circle with the magazine. I'm like, that's what I started out doing, was platforming other women and celebrating other women. And it's been a 12-year journey, which it was needed to gain more experience, to help more people, to get more insight. And now it's what it was always meant to be, is this huge platform that wanted to come through me. And so it's a new magazine, but it's been since 2014. It's being created behind the scenes, like, you know, that I couldn't have controlled.
Well, and I think there's so many really beautiful nuggets in what you were saying, because there is a process. We're not asked to jump in and create something that's beyond our comprehension at that point in time. Doing a blog, which led to something, which led to something, which led to something. And then in that whole process, we are becoming the women capable of holding the bigger vision, holding and being the conduits to allow that to come through us. I love how you said, you know, if it just helps one, job done. That is the theme. That's how my entire business came to be. The one woman, the one empire, the one podcast, the one foundation. It is always about one. And if you can focus on just one in any business that you're doing, for any of the listeners or viewers, if you have a passion in your heart, start creating it and thinking about if it just helps one, because all you have to do is help one. And it doesn't end up that way, but it diffuses some of the fear. It diffuses some of the insecurity, because I only have to worry about one person reading this, one person seeing it. What if only one person likes it? Who is that one? We want to envision helping at least one, and then we want to celebrate every one person who does, who picks that up, who reads it, who interacts, every client one at a time. I think that is the most beautiful part of all of this, is you're creating a platform that allows not only celebrating women, but carrying their voices, their missions, their messages forward for one at a time, whoever picks up that magazine, whoever connects with it, and then they're impacted, which then they are uplifted and they expand their own mission. It is always about one and the ripple effect that you can create. And so you took step after step after step to create this magazine. And you and your team, by sending me one email and me actually choosing to follow one decision to be in it, then open doors for me to be brave. And I think that's also important too. These are courageous steps. One of my mentors, Melanie, always says, confidence is courage compounded. Take a courageous step, take a courageous step, do what you're meant to do. But we're always going to be able to see, oh, okay, that back then, which felt brave, led to this, which led to this, which led to the woman I am today, and the
Yeah.
missions that we're meant to be holding.
Yeah,
How
I
do
realized that I didn't answer your initial question about how do we choose the women who we're
Yes.
in. It is all connected in that, and thank you for that. It is one person at a time, and that's how we're growing this slowly, intentionally. I don't want to just feature anyone. That's not the point. This is frequency based, and I am personally inviting or overseeing who is coming in because I trust my which is why we feel like we know each other,
Yes.
because
Yes.
there is a frequency connection with every single, and you'll see it running through the magazines. You
Mhm.
will read through these magazines and you either get it or you don't. You either resonate with these women or you don't. But the women that we're all very similar women in that you will look through and go, I feel her.
Mm.
Right, I feel this woman. Like you've said, I didn't know you all knew each
Yeah.
other. Like
Yeah.
you've met her. Like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't surprise me
Yeah.
because that there is a very high frequency, there is high intention in this, and that is so important to me growing FREQ, and it has grown very quickly by itself. We've had Elle Macpherson on the cover of the legacy issue.
Legacy. I know. I
Yeah,
loved her.
which has
I
been
loved her.
incredible, but again it has been very, it's been natural. I've not pushed any of this, but I am fierce with who comes in, with the frequency of this, because this is a magazine for manifestation, leadership, and legacy. This is an intentional magazine. This is about people intentionally creating, co-creating their realities, their experiences. And so this is a new media platform that is about that, and we will never lower the frequency on who we're platforming, who's coming in, because we're inviting people up to the frequency,
Oh,
right?
yes. And it's so beautiful to watch this from the outside because Radiance, you had Priyanka, and she,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, she's so young and so wise and just unbelievably intelligent.
Mhm.
And then I got to be in the legacy one with Elle, who had been one of my idols when I was growing up. And then you had Trinity issue. The one,
Trinity, yeah,
okay,
the
it is
recent
Trinity.
ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Trinity came after, and you have Nikki in there, and Nikki's got a whole story about her whole life believing she is Trinity from a different perspective. And
Yeah,
so,
that was wild when we connected with her and she said that. I was like, what this is, that I can't make this up. I cannot. I have to be so connected. We've got a small team and we are all like this, but I oversee everything because I'm fiercely protective of the frequency of connection of who comes into this magazine,
uh,
right? So it is just wild how, and of course it is, how there's so much alignment. I
yes.
couldn't make that up, that we've got
No.
the Trinity issue, which we'd already chosen, and then Carrie Ann Moss said yes to the cover. She's actually Trinity in the Matrix, and then Nikki came, and I was like, yeah, of course. But this is what I mean about trusting yourself and not I will never lower the bar of what I'm available for. And this is not just the magazine, this is my entire life, the way I run my companies, the way I'm in my relationships, everything. It's taken me till my 40s to get to this level of like finessing everything. What was Bodhi Babes? I could never have run FREQ then, right? Bodhi Babes and
We
FREQ
were
are
growing.
wildly different, but it's come into it, right? That
Yes.
gorgeous baby blog, I
Yes.
had no idea where it would lead, but that was me saying yes to what was coming through and taking immediate action on what was coming through then. So it is taking fast action on what you know to be true now. And
Yes.
that's how I am yesing to the things that I know to be true, to the women. And we are unapologetic in personally reaching out and inviting those we know are meant to be in this, right? And this is also the confidence thing for me has also come through acting.
Ah,
There is nothing better for your confidence than putting yourself up for rejection after rejection after rejection, which is what you get when you are in the casting circuit, right? In my teens and early 20s, especially, I was constantly being, you're either rejected or most of the time you don't hear a thing.
Yes.
Like, casting directors never get back to you. You go and put your all into a role, you stand there in front of people who are judging you, and then you leave and never hear a word. That was the best thing I could have ever done to be the confident woman I am today. That is the best thing I could have done for myself, to be able to lead people, run companies, coach people, because I am not afraid of being rejected. I am not afraid of hearing no. I'm not afraid to ask for what I want. I'm not afraid to put myself out there, because as an actor, you have to do it. And you got to learn to be so resilient. I've become very resilient and unapologetic. So yeah, I will go out there and collect no's. My team and I will personally invite people unapologetically into the magazine and say, you need to be in this. And if it's a no, that's cool. We're not attached to that, but we know who, and we will offer it to we know who's meant to be in it.
Go out there and collect no's.
Like
That was
no's,
brilliant too.
brilliant.
Go out there and collect no's. Make your mark in the world. Be as brave as you possibly can. And I'm telling you, from an outsider's point of view, if you got invited to be in this magazine, be in this magazine. Because when I was invited, I had no clue what was ahead. I remember being shocked because I'm not a strong online presence. Most of my business is offline. I've been going through this energetic, put yourself out there, put yourself out there. And I will never forget getting that message and then really contemplating, do I want to do this? It did require me to be courageous. It required me to step outside myself. Had I known my friends were going to be in the magazine, I would have jumped at it, but that wouldn't have been courageous. I'm so glad I didn't know who was going to be in either issue. And because it required, I know nothing except I feel like I'm supposed to do this. And for me, it was a courageous step. I would never have done that. I never have before.
I'm
But
so glad you did. It's like you were meant to be in that issue, especially. It was just, and it's evergreen. It lives on, and we continue.
yep.
Like, this is my other thing, is why we keep it reasonably small. Obviously, it's going to grow. This is a huge media empire, but I want personal relationships with everyone who comes in. I want to know who's in this magazine. I want to be able to see what everyone's up to. Obviously, I can't keep my eyes on everything, but this is what the conversations that I'm having with my team every day. Like, what are people up to? I think we sent an email out recently. I was like, email everyone. I want to know what they're up to. I don't want to just put people in a magazine, want to go to see ya, bye. This is a community. This is me coming back to where I started in 2014 with the blog. What are people up to? How can we celebrate? How can we bring more through? So this is just the beginning of you being in our amazing FREQ community, and us, I'm like, how can we help you? How can we get you more visible? Because I've had 25 plus years of being visible, and now I feel like, let's get everyone visible, myself included. I'm walking beside everyone going, let's get better visibility. This is not visibility for the sake of it either. This is better intentional visibility. This is the whole point.
It is intentional visibility. And I think that is one of the most important lessons for everyone to comprehend. Yes, we're naturally in the search of money. Money makes your life easier. We want to have successful businesses, but her intentionality was to serve. How do I make more people visible? Who do I put in these magazines? It wasn't, let's have a magazine all about myself. It was, who do I put in here? And then the very detailed, frequency aligned intentionality of who am I going to spotlight in this. It's just the most intentional magazine I've ever seen. It's so much more than a magazine. And for people that aren't even interested in magazines, I want you to apply this in whatever your business can be. Is there something in your heart and in your soul that okay, I feel like I'm supposed to do this even if I don't understand the complete mission, and especially if the tone underneath it is to serve, because in the serving, is when this happens. She and I would have probably never connected any other way. I would have followed her on Instagram, loved her accent, thought she was brave and amazing, thought she had a lot of style. I would have loved everything about her, but I probably wouldn't have reached out. And then I'm supremely grateful for how it changed me. And then because of you, me being braver makes my mission spread farther. So without you even knowing, it was one invite on your end made me have a larger impact. And that's what I'm hoping people understand is however you're serving, whatever your mission is, if you can impact one, the way you impact them allows them to serve on a braver, bolder level, which then means you helped to create that. And I think that's how we change the world. Walking this world together, being present in the moment, knowing how you're supposed to serve, what you're supposed to say, what you're supposed to do, and then being unattached. There's no way she will ever know the ripple effect of every person that she's touched. There's no way I will either. But sometimes we'll get to have things like this. We'll reconnect. We'll have a podcast together and tell the stories and try and impact more people. We just never know what's in our future. I love this.
Well, I love you, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for inviting me on your podcast. Thank you for the words you've said today that have really touched my heart and will help me move FREQ forwards in a way that you can't even imagine how much your words mean. You have given me the greatest gift today in that, because it's not easy. Running a business is not easy. Being a woman is not easy, full stop. Being a woman visible in the world, putting ourselves out there, this is a new media company and magazine, is fucking hard.
Yes.
I love it, but your words today, because we don't often get feedback. How often do people actually stop and go, we think it, we mean it, but how often do we stop and say to our mentors or our friends or people we've had connections with, this is what this meant to me? And so the gift that you've given me today and what it actually meant for you to be in FREQ, and I want you to know, like, you have impacted my life beyond measure and will go on to now impact thousands, millions of women with FREQ, because you said to me, it meant so much to be in. That now gives me more fire to go, more Lisas. This is really important. This is so important. You've reflected back to me why I started it or why I said yes to it. And now I know even more, like, you need that person to say, yes, you're doing the thing that you thought you were doing. Okay, great, amazing, thanks. I've got to go now because I now got to go and find the other women that need this. That other one at a time, one person, one conversation at a time is how we change the world. So your mission is so incredibly important, and I want to continue putting on you on every platform I possibly can, because your work is life-changing, which is why I care about this so much. The world is tough. There's so much darkness out there, but there's so much more light, and this is what we need to do. This is why we're here. And this is why we have to say yes immediately to the things that want to come through us. Right? This is how we're alchemizing the darkness. Incredible women like you who are changing lives every single day. Imagine if every single person was living from their heart center. Imagine if every single person was living on purpose, was coherent. Right? This is what we're doing. This is what we're here to do. So FREQ, look out for FREQ, because it's going to be the biggest magazine you've ever seen in the whole. And when I channeled it, when I actually stopped and said, okay, this is a thing that wants my attention. Apparently I'm doing a magazine. And I actually meditated and spent time connecting with FREQ. What are you? What do you want to be? And it said to me, this is the Vogue of manifestation.
Wow.
So that's
so true. And I'm so glad you didn't try and make it explode from the beginning. The level of your intentionality is one of the most beautiful things, because knowing that this person who created the magazine is so involved in who she's putting in there. Like, I don't know, I haven't seen that level of intentionality. And I'm sure over time, as it does explode, as it does get bigger, maybe things will shift, but it's created in such purity. And when things are created in service and purity, of course, they're going to expand exponentially across the world. And what an honor. Like, I can't imagine the conversations we'll be having 2 and 5 years from now. We're in each
Maybe so.
other's
We're going to have
worlds.
some amazing events and
Oh,
conversations, lunches and
I will
celebrations,
be there.
darling.
I will be
Please
in
come to
any live
London.
events. I'm
We
coming.
need to...
Yes. When your
Um,
next live event, I will be there.
one thing that is coming through that's important, and again, it's gone because I've got excited about events, is the trusting of who comes in. There's something on that. There's a really important message coming through for whoever's listening. That's how I'm also not attached to the no's. I couldn't care about the no's because I'm so connected to the women's hearts who are meant to be in this. The no's, of course, I care about every single conversation and interaction that myself and the team are having. I do. But if it's a no, they're not on the same frequency. We're not, and maybe that will change, but we trust the no's. And when you're for anyone listening who has something that you want to create, who has a business that you want to grow, who has a big mission and message, who wants to get more intentionally visible, whatever it is for you, relationships, dating, anything, apply this to anything. When you really know yourself and why you're doing what you do, it doesn't matter if you're rejected, because it's not rejection, it's redirection, which we've heard a million times, but you really, really are embodied in that. No's, rejection do not affect me. One, because of the experience I've had being rejected in acting, as I spoke about earlier, but more importantly, because FREQ is so precious to me, because it's not mine, it's bigger than me, that I keep it in it. And so I have no attachment to asking for what I want, inviting people, putting it out there intentionally. And we've had some people come back and be quite rude about being invited into it. That happens in business, but not in alignment. That's not about me. So it doesn't, I'm like, cool, no worries. You go over there, because this is absolutely, that's very, very rare, but it's not, the people who get it in anything. And like that, it just takes one yes, dating, business. So that is always back to that one person and what your whole mission is.
Trust those no's. When it's a no, you're being redirected to something better, something more aligned, something on the right frequency at the right time. If you're ever going to say no, there might be a full circle moment. Someone regrets not being in here, but it's fine. Like you're saying, in every avenue of business, there's always going to be no's. There's going to be a not right now. There's going to be this isn't a match. There will be a better match at the right time. And we have to just completely trust that. I had to grow into, I know what's ahead for me is requiring a certain level of a woman. And that's my responsibility to become that woman. I think a lot of our missions are bigger than us. And we need to rise to that frequency to honor that it's coming through us and to honor impacting the world. And these things are not just given lightly. Like what comes through your heart and your soul to serve the world, it's not just a gift to do this. It is your responsibility to be that person, to honor it, to have that integrity and to be brave. And what you're creating has so many different levels of impact, and she can shift and do whatever she wants over the world. Right now, this is such a beautiful mission. And I have my mission, and I do believe in giving yourself the permission to change. If you've been doing something, like she said, that didn't align, walk into something new, whatever your heart is telling you to do. This is a living example. She has changed. She's followed that over and over and over and over and over again. And now look at what she's doing. And that's why I really wanted to have you on. Not only did I want to share how grateful I was and do I adore you, but I want people to see what you've created. And I also want people to understand how much bigger they could be if they will step into the things that scare them, and if they really truly create from their heart, and if they take the opportunity to be exposed even when you aren't sure you're ready. Because just the courageous step in being more visible instead of exposed, more visible, you can.
It can feel like that sometimes.
Yes, it does.
Exactly. One of my mentors once said, if you want the best self-development program there is, start a business. I mean, ain't that the truth? Talk about being exposed. You have to. You have no choice but to look at your shadows. You have no choice but to get your house in order. If you want to run a successful business, you're going to have to go there.
Yeah. And what I love so much is it's very hard to be able to look back and really see where we've made impact. It's hard unless you're writing journals and you go back and you read it. What I love so much is I will always have this physical print of a magazine that every time I open that, it brings back those feelings. And I think that's what's different about an actual piece of print, a magazine and a book. These are things that will be around for years to come, and you can actually physically touch it and
Yeah.
know, you can know I created this, and I can know this was a turning point in time. And
Yeah.
so, is there anything else that you feel that's coming through before we wrap up that you feel is important to say?
What's coming through for me is that it can be messy. It's okay. My journey has been looked messy from here moving forwards. Looking backwards, now it all makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also being courageous is the key takeaway. Confidence and clarity are not required. They're not going to be there.
Yeah.
What's required is courage. And the French word for heart is cœur. Courage comes from the heart.
Mm.
So the only thing I've done, I didn't have it all figured out ever. I still don't. Nobody does, by the way.
Mm-mm.
What we have, what those who are successful in creating the life they want way, is courage to freaking go for it, is to just not know beyond the next right action, but just keep taking. That's all I did, was listen, say yes, create, know that. Like, that's why I've had a million jobs. I trained as an actor, and then I was like, okay, what now? Like, I can't. It's one of the hardest professions to break into, and I had some success, but I had to do other things to make money along the way. So that took me into so many different businesses and jobs, and but all of those things that I was like, why am I working in advertising now? Why am I temping in banking? What? I've got so many, and it didn't make sense to anyone else.
Yep.
Or me, honestly, apart from at each action I was saying yes to. Okay, this makes sense for right now.
Yep.
But trusting that, being courageous in not doing things the way we're expected to, not following the head, shoulds, coulds, have tos. I never did that. I will never do that. I listened to my heart. And now I'm like, oh, look at what we've created. Now
Oh,
it makes sense. In
yes.
my 40s, now I'm in a place where I'm like, oh, and now we continue.
Mm. It's so true. Let it be
No,
messy.
but
Let it be
no,
fun. Let it
yeah,
make no sense to anyone because the
mess
universe,
up.
God, yeah,
Yeah,
nothing operates on human time. We created that mess. So let it be whatever your soul tells you what to do. Follow that. Follow your
yeah.
heart. And then
And
beautiful things like this happen.
if anyone younger is listening, I wish I had us in my 20s, because in
Oh,
my 20s I was trying to get it right. Like everyone else was having kids and getting married and in their career, and I just wasn't still. And I was like, but everyone else has it all figured out and I don't. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just have fun, mess up, make mistakes, keep saying yes, keep just following the next right action. It will all work out, I promise you, and you have time, and it gets better. Like 40s, 50s. I have women in their 70s in my coaching company. I have one woman who's 72 now, has just started a new business. She's had an incredible career, other businesses. She's also just started kickboxing. Like, she's a badass, and she's in her 70s. I'm like, it gets to get better. Like, I've
yes.
never felt more beautiful, more confident, radiant, is one of my core desired feeling words.
Mm.
Like, do we just get to keep feeling more radiant as we get more confident and more clear as we are courageous in moving forwards?
Yes. And you aren't meant to be like anybody else. Your path is meant to be different. I wish I would have known that too. I'm so grateful I lived what I did. I'm so
Yeah,
grateful to be where I am now, to be able to have the freedom to do everything that I'm doing. I couldn't have had that if it had gone a different way. So, trusting in your path isn't meant to make sense to anybody but you. And especially if you're living by your heart and you're following those yeses and you're being courageous. So, my favorite question to ask everyone at the end
yeah.
of this is, considering the woman you are today and the feeling that you have for the future, how would
Mm.
you end this sentence? I am the one who.
Mm. That is a delicious question. I am the one who brings vision into reality.
I love that. You do. I am so grateful for you. I'm grateful for your courage, your confidence, your bravery through all these years so that our paths would intersect. I cannot thank you enough for the gift you gave me by inviting me to be on that in that magazine, in that particular issue. And I'm so grateful to have you on this podcast and to share you with the world. I hope you all will come and find Lou George. Tell people where they can find you. Where are you most present?
FREQ Magazine and my personal Instagram, so Louise George Official, and freqmagazine.co, which is also the website for the magazine, so that you'll find everything else from there.
Perfect. I love it.
Thank you.
And we'll
This
put all the
is
links
so
below.
gorgeous. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just talk forever. We will. This is just the start of many
Oh, yeah.
conversations and
Oh.
many collaborations.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure, such an honor. I hope you guys will go and find her. Definitely connect, follow her mission. Like, her magazine is so pristine and beautiful, and I'm sure whatever she creates ahead. And are you still coaching if people want to come to you for coaching?
Selectively,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, very selectively. The magazine is in its infancy right now. It's needing a lot of my attention, and I'm just loving it. So, but yeah, selectively, invitation basis. So yeah, absolutely. If people connect with me and want coaching, then we can see if it's fit. I'll point them in the right direction. I'm connected to so many amazing coaches and women. But yeah.
And when does the next issue come out?
So we've got bi-monthly issues now.
Wow.
So we've moved from quarterly to bi-monthly. It may be monthly soon. We're expanding the team to facilitate that. I'm pulling the reins a bit because I want to keep it really, really intentional. That will remain whatever we do. There's a blog coming soon, so we're just expanding, which you will be on. There's so much coming to support bigger visibility for FREQ, bigger visibility for everyone who's been in. So thank you for also trusting in it from the early days as well. I'm so grateful to everyone who's invested and who's given so much to this, because it's not me, it's you, you know.
Yeah.
It's for you, it's by you, and yeah, I want to continue celebrating that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. What an honor. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate you, and I will have all the links below. Thank you. We'll see you again soon on the One Podcast.